Well, hello everyone, once again this is Visual Pony and welcome back to another Pony and Wolf Productions video. Today we are reading the story Is It Real by Majin Syeekoh. We haven't featured that author in a while, I think, and, well, I saw this one here in my recommended and was like, you know what? Let's read it. Also, I saw that this story has 2 readings apparently, but one of those is no longer on YouTube because the channel has been suspended. Now, let's see what this is actually all about. From what I see, it is a Twilight Celestia Starlight Glimmer story. So I'll have to do 3 voices. Great! But anyway, let's get into this because first I want to show you a list of those amazing people who with their amazing donations keep this channel alive and enable me to buy, food for my feline overlord, who is currently watching me from the bed and we're actually making sure that I don't say anything she doesn't want me to say. Let's get into the story, okay? Well, is it? Twilight sipped the last of her tea and let out a sigh. It's nice that you two finally get to meet, she said, looking at Princess Celestia and Starlight Glimmer in turn. Celestia smiled, her own tea remaining untouched. Yes, it's nice to see the little troublemaker with my own eyes. Starlight blushed and looked away. I swear you enslave one village! I was referring to where you almost irrevocably altered Equestria's timeline over petty revenge, Celestia said with a snicker as she stirred her tea. I personally would have had you locked in a dungeon and thrown away the key, but I'm deferring to Twilight's judgment on this matter. She took a delicate sip as an ephemeral bolt shot through Starlight's spine. I am not the Princess of Friendship after all. Twilight's cheeks turned rosette as she bowed her head. Thank you, Princess Celestia. I won't let you down. I trust you won't, Princess Twilight, Celestia said. I have the utmost faith in you. She looked to the side. It can't turn out any worse than Discord. Discord saw the magic of friendship in the end, though. Celestia pursed her lips. True, although the path there was rather rocky. It worked out, so. Twilight stood up. Does anyone want dessert? Celestia nodded. Yes, that would be lovely. Are you alright, Starlight? Starlight didn't say much of anything. Twilight trotted over to her and waved a hoof in front of her face. Starlight, do you want dessert? Starlight snapped to attention. Yeah, sure. Twilight smiled and nodded. Alright, I'll get you two some dessert. Twilight looked at Celestia. Princess Celestia, you haven't finished your tea. Are you feeling alright? You usually get through it so quickly. Celestia swirled the tea around in its cup. Best to savor it when among new friends. That sounds like a good idea, Princess Celestia. I'll have to remember that, she said with a grin before walking off, leaving Celestia and Starlight alone. The sounds of breathing and shuffling hoofs punctuated the silence for a few moments. Celestia leaned in. Hey, Starlight? Starlight inhaled sharply. Yes, Princess? Do you like tea? Celestia whispered. Well, it's not my favorite drink, but it'll do in a bit. Celestia levitated her teacup and saucer to Starlight's place setting. Here, finish it before Twilight gets back. Starlight looked at Celestia, then quickly poured the tea down her throat and grimaced. Celestia took the teacup back when Starlight was done with it. I see why you didn't want it, Starlight said. Yeah. Celestia looked at the door. Twilight isn't the best at making tea. She shook her head. I don't know how you mess up tea, but Twilight found a way. Starlight raised an eyebrow and smirked. I never expected such deception from you. I'm also not the element of honesty, Celestia said with a snort. Never was. The two giggled over that statement, then sighed. Starlight hummed. You know, I don't think I'll ever have another opportunity like this. Can I ask you a question? You just did, Celestia said while grinning. I suppose, Starlight snickered. Anyway, you're really old, right? A warm chuckle escaped Celestia's lips. That's one way of putting it, yes. Like heartwarming old, right? One could assume as such. Starlight looked down at the table. So, did it really go down like that? You mean, Celestia said before exhaling, did Wendigos really freeze the founders of Equestria solid before the fires of friendship disintegrated them? Although I feel like you're asking another question. Starlight looked up. If I'm overreaching? No, not at all, my little pony. Celestia smiled at Starlight. Nothing wrong with an inquisitive mind who wishes to phrase the tangles of legend. Starlight grinned. So it's not true. I never said that. Celestia kept her smile trained on Starlight. Starlight grunted. But you just said it was a legend. Celestia clapped her hooves. So was the tale of Nightmare Moon, and I exchanged presents with her before coming here. Starlight leaned in across the table. You're not answering my question. Celestia leaned in to mirror Starlight. Let me ask you this. Would it matter if I did? Well, Starlight said as she pulled back. It'd be nice to confirm the historical accuracy of the matter. Let me ask you another question. Did you celebrate Hearthwarming Eve tonight? Starlight shrugged. I was resistant at first, but I eventually came around. Celestia nodded. Did you enjoy it? Well, yeah, but that's not what I'm asking. Celestia lounged back. Would it affect your enjoyment of the holiday if you knew for a fact that you were observing it under threat of Equestria's destruction, and not simply as an excuse to bond with your friends? Starlight locked eyes with Princess Celestia, glancing over her stone-like countenance. The sounds of breathing punctuated the air once again. Starlight exhaled. I'm not entirely sure. Then wouldn't it be best if it remained a mystery? Starlight blinked, then pursed her lips as she pulled away. Well played, Princess Celestia. Celestia chortled. I didn't realize this was a game. You're horrible, Starlight said after groaning. Celestia righted herself in her seat. I have been called that on occasion. Twilight entered holding 3 cream brulees and set them in front of their place settings. And dessert has just been served. She glanced at Celestia's teacup as she sat down. It's nice to see you finished your tea, Princess Celestia. How did you like it? Celestia smiled warmly at Twilight. It was up to your usual standard. Really? I'm so glad that you enjoyed it, Twilight said. Now, let's eat this before it gets cold. Celestia and Starlight exchanged a glance as Twilight shoveled the dessert into her mouth. Celestia winked at Starlight as she carefully started eating. Starlight shook her head as she dined on her own portion.
Once again it is time for comment time with me, Luna, the comment kitty. Please remember that the links down in the description help support Pony and Wolf Productions and enable my humans to buy me awesome snacks and toys. Oh, and sometimes some food for them as well, but only after I've had my fill. So, what do I think of this story? I kinda understand where Celestia is coming from. Is it really important to know if the events described in the Hearthwarming Eve story took place exactly like that, as long as the story brings ponies and other creatures together to celebrate that day? I personally don't think so. I mean, there are real-life examples, but if you want to know more about that, buy me a treat and I might talk. That said, now go away, I wanna take a nap.